Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the ECW High Level Financing Conference side event with the theme Advancing Digital Learning and Inclusion of Children Affected by Conflict. And the question you need to ask yourself is where to invest. My name is Stephen Kentawiti, and I lead the Connected Education portfolio for UNHCR. And I'm honored to be your moderator for the day. So, as you all know, access to quality education is a fundamental human right, and it has become increasingly critical in today's rapidly changing world. However, children affected by conflict, crisis, and displacement face significant barriers to accessing education, and their future is often uncertain. That is why the theme for this convening is so important. We are here to explore the possibilities of advancing digital learning and the inclusion of children affected by conflict, and to identify the most effective ways to invest in critical areas. Our goal is to bring together experts, policymakers, stakeholders, to share their knowledge and insights on challenges and opportunities in the field, and to foster collaboration and partnership towards a common goal. So we're excited to have a lineup of panelists today, and I'm confident that this discussion will be both informative and engaging. And now it is my pleasure to introduce you to our esteemed guest panelists. So I'll start with Nestori Barihanga. Nestori Barihanga is a refugee teacher, a digital learning advocate who has a wealth of experience in using technology to enhance learning in low-resource environments. Nestori holds a diploma in education from Kenyatta University and is a skilled educator and digital learning advocate. Nestori was born in Kasenyi, Democratic Republic of Congo, but was forced to flee to Kenya in 2013, where he resided in Kakuma refugee camp. Having completed his secondary school studies in Uganda, Nestori was able to secure a teaching role first at Somali Bantu Secondary School and then at Greenlight Secondary School in Kakuma. In both locations, he was responsible for teaching history and business studies. In 2018, Nestori was selected to be a Colibri coach, working at Greenlight Secondary School to support teachers, students to effectively utilize technology and to enhance learning. In this capacity, he provided in-service training to teachers in Kakuma. He has also supported the refinement of offline digital platform and has helped to increase its utility in low-resource environments. Currently, Nestori is resettled to in 2022. Nestori is settled in Germany and continues to support his community in Kakuma with advancing digital skills. Nestori also remains a strong advocate of refugee education. Nice to see you, Nestori, again. Our second panelist is Miss Shinshin Yu, who is an education officer focusing on monitoring, evaluation, and reporting on connected education programs in UNHCR. As you all know, UNHCR is mandated to lead on and coordinate international action to protect refugee and resolve refugee problems worldwide. Shinshin joined the team with a lot of passion to support colleagues working in regional country fields, as well as working with partners to better track digital learning programs, spotlight best practices across the context, and demonstrate the results and impact through robust evidence. Prior to UNHCR, Shinshin has also worked in Malawi and New York with a focus on monitoring, evaluation, and program management. Welcome, Shinshin. Our third panelist, ladies and gentlemen, is Judith Flick. Judith is a Dutch citizen who was born in Greece and has extensive multi-sectoral and multicultural experience working and living in Southern Africa, Latin America, and Europe. She holds a master's in social anthropology, management for business administration, and a degree in tri-sector leadership for innovation from the Sloan School of Management, that is MIT in Boston. Judith is a core member of the the Presence Institute in Boston, and a guest lecturer at MIT. She has also co-created methodologies for system change and facilitated large sector sector change processes. Over the past 30 years, Judith has held multiple leadership positions, such as regional directorship for Oxfam, Great Britain, the Global Campaign for Education, the Netherlands Red Cross, the Presence Institute, and the TDH and TDH. Currently, Judith is the program director of Can't Wait to Learn, an innovative game-based learning education initiative for children affected by war and conflict, developed by War Child. Can't Wait to Learn is one of War Child's flagship intervention providing digital learning for education in emergencies. It is an integral education component for War Child Holland system of care for children in crisis that combines psychological support, child protection, and education to help children regain trust in themselves and others. Welcome, Judy. And finally, Ms. Zuhura Daga Shafik, Program Director, ActionAid Development. With over 20 years of experience in social development, gender, public health, and management, she has worked with various international organizations such as UNDP, USAID, MSH, Save the Children, Sweden, and the Ministry of Public Health of Afghanistan. Currently, she has a program. She serves as a program director of AFD, and where she focuses on community development, health, education, and women empowerment. Ms. Daga is a skilled program development evaluator, a budget analyst, and she holds a Master of Science in Public Policy and Management from the University of London Centre for Financial and Management Studies. Welcome. Wonderful experience and exemplary bios from our speakers. So I'm sure everyone is excited to hear a lot from our speakers, and we'll just kickstart the conversation. So, Nestori, nice to see you again. And just to kickstart this conversation, as a skilled educator and digital learning advocate, through your experience, your personal experience, supporting many refugees and students in low-resource contexts, use digital learning solutions and provided pivotal opportunities for refugees learners.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kent. My name is Nestori Kabagambe, former refugee from Kakuma refugee camp, and currently I reside in Germany. I'm happy to share with you the contributions that technology has had towards improving the education in the camp. Many of the times that refugees community have been less hard, and this has really affected them. As today, I'm happy to be in this conference where refugees issues are being discussed, that people who are always not on the table, that their issues are also discussed. And it is so grateful that whenever refugees are being heard, they grow high and they get opportunities. Having the technology in the camp and my experience as a teacher, and having worked also to support the integration of technology in the schools, really helped me to contribute in supporting the teachers. Looking at Kakuma refugee camp, in the class of over 130 students, whereby you find you have 2 or 3 textbooks of biology or physics, and you have 4 classes where this teacher, to get this textbook, he has to wait for another teacher to finish so that he can exchange to get a textbook. That is the kind of situations that is in the camp, that students who study in the refugee camp go through. And apart from that, these students, they are big, they are very many. If the teachers do not have textbooks, what about the students? And when, as a teacher, you request to tell the student to buy the textbook, the student will ask you, teacher, I really want to learn, but yesterday and today I didn't eat, or we eat once a day. So how will I get the money to buy the textbook and when I've not eaten to school? So, but when we integrated technology into school, it was a changing lifeline. We had 50 tablets in the school, but they contributed a lot in serving over 2,500 students in the school. With the technology, with the availability of the tablets, we are able to have all the notes in the same tablet, whereby we are no longer having the challenge of sharing the textbook, but even the student, him or herself, can access the notes when the teacher needs. So that is the contributions of technology. And there are some of the lessons that need lively example for this refugee learner. Remember, he's competing with the same students who are studying in a quite more environment. And this one in the camp. So there are some lessons, the science subjects, which require this student to see what the teacher is telling him. But through technology has enabled us to have that kind of lessons, the biology lessons. Students in the refugee camp can also see when the teacher tells him or her that the move or how the blood pumps into the heart, how does it affect, or in physics, the student is able to see with the provision of technology. So apart from that, previously students used to absent from school because they tell you, when we come, we don't have the opportunity to write notes. In the refugee camp, it's a different context where you have different kind of students, the old age, the visual impairment, and all that. And these are over 100 students. When the teacher writes on the board, there are those who sit behind it don't see. But through the provision of technology, the students who had such kind of challenges are able to have the notes on their desk and are able to see. And also the slow learners are able to move into the ICT lab and copy the notes at their own pace. So that is the contributions of how technology has been. But no matter how the resources we had, we have been able to use them to see that we have supported the teachers and the students. Not only that, we said that how can we support these students after finishing Form 4? They don't have digital skills. Today's world is changing. These students after Form 4 in the camp, what will they do? So we decided to have the digital trainings for the girls, for the adolescent girls. During the holidays, we take them to the boot camp and offer them digital trainings. When these girls finish Form 4, they are able to earn a living. They are able to get employed, maybe on the online media, or employed in to do some which the kind of work that require digital skills. But through this, the trainings that we had, we taught them in the schools, they are able to earn a living. So that is the kind of the contributions technology has had in the camp. But it is a continued effort. Many of the schools who are not reached, most of them, when they finish primary, they want to go to the schools which have technology. They tell you, teacher, if I go to this other school, I will not have the resources that I need. At least let me be registered here. But this is one school, over 130 students. How will you accommodate all the students? It's not possible. So there are many other schools which are not reached in terms of technology. And those are kind of things that refugee teachers, apart from providing them education, but we make sure that providing them quality education. And quality education with 21st century is only possible through integrating of technology. That refugee students can also access education, which is right to education for every child, not either they're refugees or they're in the camp. So those are kind of experiences that I'm able to share as being a teacher and also an educator, a digital learning advocate from Kakuma. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nestori. you've highlighted innovative approaches, how to integrate technology in a normal lesson context, and looking into technology as when it's integrated into normal lessons, and it not being a replacement, but being an enabler in terms of lessons, and also administering lessons to students. And with that, we'll just switch a notch higher to Shinshin. So as Nestori highlighted, digital learning has changed the life of the trajectory of many refugee learners, and provided them with knowledge and skills to thrive in the digital world. However, as we all know, with the increasing number of displaced population worldwide, there is increased demand for further support for children affected by conflict. Could you provide a brief summary in terms of the digital divide, in terms of the digital divide for refugee learners that are currently facing, and the collective efforts that UNHCR and partners are making in addressing this challenge?
Thank you. I will try. Thank you so much, Nestori, for very inspiring stories, and it's always great to hear about the experience through personal journey. And as Nestori has mentioned, that digital learning or connected learning has been a pivotal opportunity for many refugee learners, and be able to give them the opportunity otherwise would not be possible. And UNHCR and its partners have worked over the past decades in demonstrating the viability and value of connected learning solutions through a wide range of low-tech to high-tech modalities, covering from early childhood to tertiary education. So over the years, we have made remarkable achievements collectively as partners through partnership, and especially in the area where the availability of edtech solutions that are available to addressing the needs of refugees and hosting communities, and also with increasing huge amount of digital learning materials that are available, that are also accessible through offline settings, also align with the national curriculum. And there has been increasing recognition among the refugee communities in terms of the value of edtech solutions that it can bring to learners. In addition, that has been also positive changes in the policy environment that enable refugees to be included into the national education system. So we see these very remarkable changes we have made collectively. However, there are also a lot of gaps remained, especially with, as Nestori has mentioned, through one school's example, there are many other schools that are hosting refugees that are not connected, where we really need to bring resources and then to make sure that these children are not left out from the global and digital investment and initiatives. And I think one of the estimation from UNHCR last year that during COVID, 78% of all school-age refugee learners had limited to no access to learning opportunities, which is a very striking reality to reflect the situation we need to work in. And in that effort to better understand in terms of the current collective efforts we have made across the partners, UNHCR, ECW, and EIE Hub are working together in a joint publication on a state of play report, which looks at the in terms of the advancement made across the partners and highlighting the gaps still remained, and then really wanted to bring a set of concrete recommendations, actions to take forward, especially in the run-up to the 2023 Global Refugee Forum, to guide the pledges and commitment. So with, as also a lot of the this morning discussion, it is no other more critical time than now to act. And UNHCR has launched I think many of you or some of you know that we have launched this Refugee Connected Education Challenge, which really calling to bring government officials, partners to be able to mobilize resources, work collectively, to be able to bring the expertise, resources, to be able to narrow the digital divide for refugees and making sure that refugees and displaced learners are included into these global and national initiatives. So we are as Kent also mentioned, so we are in a very critical juncture with 100, very striking number in terms of over 100 million forcefully displaced population since last year, and with 40 of them are children. So it's no other urgent time for us to work together at this critical time to be able to bring the resources and helping build concrete pledges in preparation to the Global Refugee Forum. Yeah, so I think with that, I will give some more time to other speakers. Yeah, but very happy to engage further.
Thank you, Shin. Just pulling out on Nestori's story and also unpacking, some of the, successes, building out of Nestori's engagement with lessons in the classrooms. And with that, it's good also, it brings the flow of this discussion, and I will move over to Judith. Judith, as Shinshidan mentioned, in matters of partnership and UNHCR and partners have worked over a decade to demonstrate viability and impact of digital learning investment for refugee learners. Can't Wait to Learn, as an effective learning solution, has proven its impact in closing the learning gap for almost 90,000 children in the past 10 years. How did you get there, and what were the key contributions or contributors to the success in scaling such digital learning solutions?
Thank you, Kent. Thank you. And let me just start by saying thank you to UNHCR for their vision, connections that they provided, and expertise. Without that, we wouldn't be sitting here. And with that, I started actually answering your question. I think there are 5 key elements, that got us to where we are, and hopefully, will help us reach many, many more children with our self-paced digital education program. So the most important one is relationships, collaboration, and co-creation. So when we started, UNICEF was very pivotal in that journey. In Sudan, we also collaborate with NGOs. War Child has a very small sort of operations in a few countries. So to scale, you need to collaborate with other NGOs who have education expertise and can match, what we bring to them, so that they can actually reach many more children. Very important, ministries of education, the duty bearers. If they don't endorse, the digital education and prepare teachers actually to embrace it and not see it as a threat, but actually as an addition to their education, that is really sort of pivotal for anyone, for donors, but also NGOs to be able to operate. And we always work together with the Ministry of Education and follow the national curriculum, therefore. Then there are, of course, a multitude of game developers, people in the IT sector and private sector who contribute and who, are with us in times like, when Ukraine, when we really need to sort of rush to make an enormous effort to bring digital education to the Ukrainian students, and did that in 3 months' time, or when there's a low because we lack funding to continue sort of doing our work. Education cannot wait is also one of those. So that was sort of relations. The second one is, of course, you can't do anything without a really good product. A product that is relevant. So it really sort of, adds something and addresses the needs on the ground, where solar electricity, internet, and actually works. That's reliable, that actually delivers quality education, where children learn fast and well, and learn the right thing. And that's education that generates data as well, which we do. Education that adapts to children's needs. So all the children are different, they have different cognitive abilities, but also social emotional learning. We constantly say that combination of MHPSS, social emotional learning, and cognitive learning is really important, and we've integrated that. Also learning that responds to the requirements of the ministries. And as I said, as partners who really sort of need to deliver that if you want to scale more widely. Lastly, to scale, you also need to be modular and replicable and value for money. So, but the proof is in the eating, and I'll come back to that. In order to produce such a product, this is my third thing, you need the right expertise. You need to have capacity inside and outside, be able to mobilize to do that. And we have a fantastic team, a team that's nimble, agile, has enormous drive, pushing themselves to the limit, really, holding very high standards, self-critical, and integrating that learning constantly, because that's what you need to do, really, when you innovate. And with tenacity and learning, and an organization that supports that team, throughout the whole bumpy journey. The fourth one is funding. And of course, at this conference, we talk a lot about funding. So what type of funding do you need to bring sort of a proven sort of tool like this education program to scale? Well, it's you need donors that understand the importance of education. We hear that all the time. Importance to the child, to the community, and the nation. And they see education as a return, and know that education has a high return on investment. Because education costs a lot of money. Even if you have a digital device, someone needs to be on the ground to actually really sort of roll it out and deliver it, and make sure that it works. And that are recurrent costs that you can't there's no economic of scale to be held in that. Then donors who understand innovation. Innovation comes with risk-taking. Risk-taking, you need flexible funding. Donors that have a vision and a long-term vision. You need long-term funding for this, because you need to go through different cycles when you scale. And donors that are focused on impact, because and are with you along the bumpy road. Many foundations, but also governments and a lot of different donors have sort of really supported us so far. But I said the proof is in the pudding, or in research, if you like, data. So don't believe me, but we have actually we're very lucky to have had a lot of funds for research, and are actually getting a lot of results as we speak, thanks to the Global Partnership for Education and IDRC, amongst others, but also funded by UNHCR at the beginning. We need proof of viability, of cost, value for money, better said, of the policy networks. We talked about that as well. Can it be incorporated at country level, and impact, which as War Child we look at at adherence and competence also on the ground to really do that justice, let alone reach, which can be integrated in digital devices. So sometimes I'm asked, so why invest in digital if we don't have enough funds for education in general, right? And I think that's because we can guarantee quality. And I think, Nestor, you talked about this very eloquently, what it can actually do in a classroom where there is one teacher for 100 students, which I've also seen. So you can deliver quality, which you've invested once at scale. And you can, if you replicate it, of course, reach a bigger scale. See your investments back. I hope I've answered your questions, Kent.
Yes, Judith. The key takeaway I noted there is how to scale. And that is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Just to save the best for the last, I'll switch to Zura. So, Zura, when it comes to digital learning solutions, digital learning solutions have been considered as a means to addressing inequality for the most vulnerable learners, including the Afghanistan women and girls residing in Afghan that are banned from accessing schools. Action for Development aims to providing girls in Afghanistan with access to digital education. So they can pursue and complete their schooling. So question is, Zura, how do you think we can utilize digital learning solutions to support Afghan girls to continue learning, and how partners can work together to provide such support?
Thank you very much. Welcome to everyone in the hall here, and I want to say welcome to all those who are online. We have witnessed considerable impact over the 20 years when 42 countries, they were pledging their funds for Afghanistan and supporting the different developmental activities at that time. We saw that from around 1 million students in 2001, the number of students increased to around 10 million by end of 2018. Students' enrollment in higher education increased from 27,000 in 2003 to 380,000 by 2018. Particularly girls' students increase was from 5,000 to 90,000 in the same timeline. So we have seen that people in Afghanistan, they strive for education. They strive to get education for their children, for their girls particularly. This is one of the aspects that perhaps everyone has seen also, how women in Afghanistan fight towards having their rights achieved. Unfortunately, the situation with digital learning did not have that much progress over that period of time, or maybe this was one of the aspects that it could have been better, but we did not have that much progress, we see. And one of the key causes to this was the huge illiteracy of the population. In 2019, one of the studies has showed that only 17.6% of the people were able to use the internet connection in Afghanistan. And today this has even further reduced due to poverty, due to the lack of the possibilities, due to the closure of internet cafes and pressure on the woman to stay home. When today we face the problems in Afghanistan, we should acknowledge that other countries, other governments, they aim to educate their people, they aim to educate their children, and they wish to do that. Where in Afghanistan, unfortunately, we have a completely opposite situation. It's the government that oppresses the woman. They do not allow the second degree education and secondary education for girls. So the systems to operate and to give a possibility for education for girls, it should be differently considered, and different strategies should be developed for this. I believe that, I mean, we already had some insights into the digital education, providing digital platform for the students in Afghanistan. But today, thanks to the other panelists and to the possibility to hear their stories, it has further enforced my opinion that digital education is the only way for Afghanistan girls to have an education. When they are suppressed, they have to stay at home. They are not allowed to go to school. They are not allowed to go to the internet cafes. There are very, very limited possibilities for them to have access to education. Once when I was working with the Ministry of Public Health in like 10 years ago, we were, at that time, we were probing the possibility of bringing health to the doors of the people. But today we have to do it same for education. We have to bring education to the doorsteps of the population so that they could have that possibility to educate their girls. I believe that the only way is that we should have free internet for students in Afghanistan, because the level of poverty is so high, as Nestori was saying, that they don't have possibility of having food. We have a school for street working children where students come and they say that they didn't have food since last night, and they have the only daily proportion of food at our centers. So how they can afford to get an education through the paid means? If there would be free education, free internet for the students, provision of tablets or devices with the platforms that could connect them to the education, digital learning materials that could be availed for the students in the local languages. We have several local languages in different parts of Afghanistan, and there is possibility. We see that the technology progresses so well that it's not very difficult to translate into different languages. So we should have the possibility to amplify the girls' education through providing the education within their own house setups, with their own language. And as I was mentioning that not many people have the possibility of connecting to internet and have digital knowledge. So there is a huge need in digital training for the teachers. I think at this conference today, what we need to speak about is to create coalitions and partnerships for those who are leading these initiatives, and fund the possible opportunities that could support girls in Afghanistan to have education within their home sets. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zura. And it's quite evident that you share similar stories, and with Nestori, and also the need for girls to access quality education. That is looking at the digital platforms for the girls in Afghanistan. So, with that, I'm just also cognizant of time. I'm sure many of you, the audience have questions and reflections, and we'll open it up now to the audience for some reflections, questions to our panelists, and please feel free to share. We'll be passing the mic to you. So. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Jackie. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, panelists. It's very nice to meet all of you. And it's wonderful to hear experiences from Nestor. My name is Ifedima Wigwe. I'm with Maple Leaf Early Years Foundation. Is it still on?
Yes.
Okay. We work in IDP camps in Nigeria. What we have, the problems that we have faced is also the issue of being able to provide digital education for the children that we work with, most especially because we're in hard to reach areas. We have been using something I believe is a solution in the early children who have been out of school as a result of the conflict situations they're in. So what we have used is what we call, it's called a Mavis talking pen, and it has capabilities that don't need to be charged with electricity, because we're in very hard to reach areas, like I said. And what this pen does is it has the capability to, it comes with a book, and it has the capability to translate from English into the local languages. And that way children are able to see, the books come with pictures, with pictures that they are familiar with. So things that are in their natural surroundings. And they're able to, point at the picture, and it translates to them what that is in English. And it also translates from the different languages, English and it's been very helpful, because it also helps teachers who are qualified teachers but are probably not fluent in the languages where we have our centers. So this also helps them, because they're also learning what the translations from English into the local languages. So we found that that is something that is really very helpful in teaching children in hard to reach areas as well. So we're open to discussing, like Judith mentioned, about scaling up, because we do believe it's really very helpful. And because of all the capabilities it has and the advantages of having it in the local languages, we believe that if we scale that up, we'll be able to reach a much broader, much more children, especially those in the refugee camps and the IDP camps. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any other? I'm just checking online if there's any question.
Hi, thank you very much. So my name is Sandrine Boranjaco, and I'm working with Humanity and Inclusion. And I'd like to make both a comment and a question to the panel. Very often we observe that people confuse accessibility and digital, thinking because it's digital it's going to be accessible, which is not. So for many children with disability around the world, a lot of the effort that has been done to provide remote and digital education has been not efficient because they couldn't access the digital platform, for example, or for remote, because radio is fantastic, except when you are deaf. So it's just this comment. I really want to remind everybody that digital doesn't mean accessible. So to think about it. And my question to the panel would be, did you have any experience on providing accessible digital education to children with disability? Thank you.
I think we'll take two questions, then give the panelists.
Two more?
Yeah.
Ok, merci. Je vais immédiatement répondre. Je vais pas répondre, mais je vais partager aussi l'expérience de la dame. Je suis Geneviève Ngodjon. Je suis enseignante dans la région du littoral, dans le département du Mungo au Cameroun. Alors, je réagis à la précédente parce que on a ce problème. C'est vrai que moi, je n'enseigne pas dans un camp de réfugiés, mais je suis dans une zone rurale. Et quand on dit zone rurale, ça veut dire qu'on n'a pas accès à justement tout le dispositif d'information, tout le dispositif de l'apprentissage digital. Et c'est vraiment une remarque que je fais, parce que le ministère, c'est vrai, le ministère en charge de l'éducation au Cameroun fait tout pour mettre l'accent sur la digitalisation. Mais ce qu'on remarque, c'est que tout le monde ne l'a pas, parce que déjà l'électricité fait problème. Donc, si on n'a pas d'électricité, ce sera difficile justement d'investir les plateformes numériques. Mais encore autre chose, le problème des mégas. comment on fait pour se connecter? Sachant que pour se connecter, on a 2 opérateurs mobiles et c'est de l'argent. Et quand on parle dans de zones rurales, on parle de familles démunies qui cherchent à manger, donc elles ne vont pas investir dans le numérique, elles ne vont pas penser à acheter que ce soit une tablette ou un ordinateur aux élèves parce que ils sont en train de chercher de quoi manger. Mais ce que nous on a fait par exemple, c'est que ceux qui ont facilement accès, parce que comme je suis enseignante, je vais dans plus de 8 salles de classe. Vous comprenez que si on part à 7h, 8h30, parce qu'on a 1 heure dans une classe, 2e classe, 3e classe, après ça devient fatigant, qu'est-ce qu'on fait alors? On cherche des plateformes, on cherche des vidéos qu'on enregistre, et alors quand on va dans une salle de classe, on peut projeter. Mais encore que là, le format est difficile. Pourquoi? Parce que c'est cette année que mon école a pu avoir un vidéoprojecteur. Parce qu'avant, je partais juste avec mon petit ordinateur que vous voyez là et je déposais devant la salle de classe. Ça fait que tous les élèves s'agrippaient devant pour regarder. Donc, c'est un peu des stratégies qu'on utilise pour rendre accessible tout le dispositif du digital, mais c'est pas suffisant. C'est vraiment pas suffisant parce que là, je vous parle, je suis dans un établissement secondaire. Je ne parle même pas des écoles primaires et voilà. Donc, c'est ce que je pouvais dire. Merci.
Thank you. Just really interesting to be part of this and hear your experiences. And just building on what Sandrine had mentioned, just validating the point about the need for accessible digital content that children who are deaf or who are blind can actually access. And I'm coming from a World Vision, but I work on the All Children Reading team. So we've acted in a donor capacity to support innovators who are developing content for children with disabilities. So with very small prize awards, they've been able to actually create sign language storybooks, and other underserved languages have had content created for them. And I'm wondering, in thinking about what to invest in next, where are your thoughts around creating accessible content, how you'll source that, who would create that, and then working also with local OPDs to do that and to train teachers?
Thank you very much. I think with that, we'll shift to our panelists. Maybe and the story, if you'd want to start.
Okay.
Be conscious of time.
Yeah, I will take a question and has in terms of to share the experience of kind of digital access. I know you've been hearing that we are talking about digital access or digital integration in technology or in learning, and many of you might be wondering what kind of digital platform we are using. I would share my experience because I've worked myself as a coach and a facilitator of the digital learning platform for more than 3 years in Kakuma refugee camp. So we have 2 platforms that we use in Kakuma refugee camp. One of them is one facilitated by Vodafone Foundation, which we call INES, Instant Network Schools, whereby teachers can create lessons, then upload them to the platform, then the students access those lessons there. So apart from that, there are also contents that, for example, we can have 100 tablets here, then the teacher creates 1 lesson. So instead of sharing every tablet, we're using the INES platform, we are able to share that lesson throughout all the tablets at once using the digital tools that are available using the INES. The second platform is Colibri platform. Colibri is an offline platform which does not require any internet connectivity. Colibri has the open end resources, which we use in Kakuma, and this has helped students not to struggle with the internet connectivity. That a student, wherever he or she is, and technology friendly and user friendly, He or she just needs to create an account and access the platform. And apart from that, the teacher is also able to create the lessons, because all the learning materials, for example, the challenge of textbooks, exercises, and videos, all of them, all the subjects are available on the Colibri platform. So if the teacher was struggling to download a video on YouTube, which is expensive, but those all kind of resources are available on the Colibri platform. So I think that is where we are. And one thing she said, where can we invest next? Colibri has been, they are finalizing on the final part of alignment, whereby, for example, when we are implementing in Uganda or in Nigeria, we're able to have a kind of a tool that can have the whole system of Nigeria education into the platform. Then the students just go to the platform and can access the Nigerian platform education system. When they go to Uganda, that's the same thing. When you go to any country, the students are able to access the education system, what they require in their own countries. So those are kind of two interventions on digital learning platforms that we as coaches support the teachers to facilitate their learning, and also students to make sure that they learn properly and understand their lessons. Thank you.
Judith, 30 seconds before we wrap up.
Okay, you're right. We shouldn't do digital education if it increases the divide, right? We're trying to do it to actually overcome the gap, and that's why I said it needs to be it needs to take into account the real situation on the ground. And where the children are, what their abilities are. Otherwise, it's not really relevant. It's not gonna work, and that takes a lot of collaboration. Yeah, with partners on the ground, with other providers, and so on. Yeah, is that 30 seconds?
Pretty much it. Just concluding the session in terms of the reflections. The session also emphasized the achievements made in supporting learners and affected by conflict through connected learning initiatives, just like Nestor has already mentioned. We recognize also the digital divide that still exists, which Shinshin has greatly extensively mentioned. So, looking at ways we can be able to work together. So, as just as we conclude. As a ministry representative, technology company or mobile network operator, content developer, development partners or donors, there are various ways to support the digital inclusion for refugees in national plans and investments, and also build a holistic digital learning ecosystem that is inclusive for all learners. So just to wrap up, what you need now is a long-term commitment when it comes to funding to help those that are ready to scale and to reach the most difficult to reach children. Just as Judith also mentioned, we must work collaboratively to ensure that inclusion also of refugees into national system is a priority, and that these schools also, as Nestor has already extensively mentioned, provided access to connected learning opportunities. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time, and yeah, thank you, and have a lovely afternoon. And participants online, thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone. Probably suggest people going to the plenary.